So Oxford, this would be interesting. Next up, 65-mile trip north to Oxford for Boxing Day. What do we know about Oxford, Steve? I've got to be honest, not a lot. Promoted in the summer. I know they beat Bolton Wanderers, didn't they, in the playoff final? And they've had a few mixed results, but at the moment, things aren't going too well right now.
No, they've been up a year. So they came up the year before.
Summer before, right? Yeah.
And just about stayed up last season. They were dicing with it a little bit. They got rid of the manager who was a local. Des Buckingham was sort of proper Oxford through and through, and they sacked him at a time where it looked a little bit harsh. But they brought Gary Rowett in, and he kind of steadied things, and they ended up staying up by about 3 or 4 points, I think, which was they were probably a little bit more comfortable than that, just because of all the weird results that were going on the last couple of weeks at the back end of last season. But they've started this season kind of more of the same, really. They've bloodied some of the big teams' noses. Draws at home with Coventry and Leicester, beat Ipswich. So yeah, they're no mugs, but they are in the bottom three at the moment. So they're one of the teams that are going to be down there. And if they're a team that's going to be down in that part of the table, they're a team that we've got to be looking at beating. I think I looked at their squad just now. Their top scorer, Will Lancashire, who's on loan from Tottenham, 20-year-old centre forward. Their top scorer, he's got 5 so far. Their main number 9's a guy called Mark Harris, I think he's been there a while, but he started most games this season, and yet he got his first goal, I think, in that win against Ipswich about a month or so ago. So they're struggling to score goals. They don't concede a huge amount, which is, I guess, is probably kind of par for the course for a Gary Rowett team. They were his Millwall side was very similar back in the day. And yeah, other teams he's managed have been very sort of back to basics, very well organised. They'll be looking to do stuff on set pieces. So that's our challenge, really. You got to go to the 3-sided stadium and find a way to get out of there with the points. I mean, they gave us a bit of a shoeing in a pre-season game last summer.
I'd forgotten about that, but Charlie in the comments, it was 2-0, wasn't it? Was that the one that Russell Martin was like apologising afterwards because we were really
bad? Yeah, it was. I mean, that was absolute toilet, that performance, and it was. I mean, from 1 to 11 and the subs, just dreadful. Which you can't. I mean, pre-season game doesn't really matter, but I think that sort
kind of the same of the whole season.
Yeah, I mean that sort of performance, and it was quite close to the start of the season. I think it was like a week and a half before that Newcastle game. And obviously we went up to Newcastle and played really well. And Newcastle thought, we'll forget all about that Oxford debacle. But it was not great. But this is our first trip to the Kassam Stadium for a competitive game. So we played two friendlies there before. First competitive game and potentially the last if they end up going down, because they are looking to move to another new stadium, also on the outskirts of town, but one with some actual local infrastructure. So that'll be nice. Because the Kassam is miles away from anywhere useful. So
you're
obviously
looking forward to this one, aren't you?
everybody. There's no trains running on Boxing Day, so everyone's going to have to drive or get the bus or whatever. Buses will be fine because they can drive straight in and park outside the away end. But for those of us driving, it's see what you can find in and around a city that absolutely hates cars.
We should be quietly confident about this one, George. I know that we said this about Norwich, didn't we? But there's no reason why, you would think maybe Tom Fellows might start, Jack Stevens might come in, maybe a bigger role for Romeo, like we said on. Got to start playing some games somewhere. So we should be fairly positive going into this.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if they're in the relegation zone and Saints are looking to get in the playoffs, you have to beat them, regardless of whether they're quite decent against the top sides. Having a look just then, it's only Preston from the top six that they haven't taken points from when they've been playing at home, which obviously suggests there's a potential banana skin. But you have to beat these teams ultimately. If you want to be a team who goes for promotion, you have to beat these teams. And if you're losing to Norwich and if you don't get points against, you don't get the 3 points, sorry, against Coventry, then you definitely have to win this game. I think, yeah, if they don't win, then it's a bad result. No matter how they end up playing, they've got to win the game, really. And yeah, I don't think there's much more you can say other than that. Of course, that it's interesting now. We're going into the Christmas period, and there's a couple of Saints players who've never played through Christmas before. Caspiander mentioned there. I agree, he looks a little bit tired. If you lose Leo Cienza over this Christmas period for a game, then you're starting to scratch your head as to how Saints are going to create a chance. So it's not even one where you think, oh, they're down towards the bottom. Let's drop him out of the team and rest him up. You almost need him to play every single minute he can. But yeah, if they lose or if they don't win, I think that's a failure, really.
When do you speak to Eckert this week? Is he doing a press conference before the game?
I think he's supposed to be doing it on Christmas Eve, by all accounts. Christmas Eve,
that'd be
in
nice
the morning.
for you.
Well, I'm thankfully off, so yeah, we'll have to wait and see actually how that works, because I'm sure the players will be in on Christmas Day, as they weren't, I think, last time in the Championship under Russell Martin. I recall that being a thing when they beat Swansea, gave them Christmas.
Oh, they
off,
always gave them loads of time off.
Yeah, they had loads of time off then, but yeah, they'll be in. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see as to when the press conference. We haven't actually had it confirmed, so I'm not too sure.
Just wondering,
Glenn,
because
not quite the Nathan Jones time off, is it?
No. Just wondering, Glenn, because like the Tom Fellow stuff, there'd be a question about whether he is now fit enough to start. Because really, you want Fellows and you want Cienza both playing, don't you? Because when either of those have dropped out, it seems to be when we've struggled.
Well, yeah, and Armstrong and Azaz the same. You need all four of those playing for us to have a sort of coherent attacking threat. I think it's going to be important against Oxford, because I don't think they're going to be particularly adventurous. Gary Rowett teams notoriously, they first and foremost try and keep it tight. So that's what they're going to do against us, almost certainly. So we're going to have a bit about us to break them down. So I think we need all four of our main attacking players, to be fit and firing for this particular game. The one concern I have is that Tonda might try and get too clever and worry about the next game more so than this one.
He won't let you say that to him. He's adamant. It's always the manager cliche of one game at a time.
No, well, fair play. If that's the truth, then fine. But why was he taking players off when we were 3-0 up then? And don't give me that. So but just one thing I'd like to highlight is that in the Championship last time, I know it was slightly strange because there were 4 teams that pulled away from everyone. But in order to get the same amount of points that we got last time, we're in the territory now of having to win something like 18 out of our last 24 games.
Right.
So, you might not need that many points to make the playoffs, obviously, but just a little comparison to what we did last time around in the Championship.
Yeah.
So we've got to do something like win 18 and draw 2 out of our last 24 to get the same number of points. So when you go to Oxford away, you have to win this game, and they're down. They'll be tough, and they're no mugs, as Steve said, but they're down the bottom 3 for a reason. And the reason is they're not very good. So we have to go that. We have to go there, and there can be no sort of compromise. Anything other than 3 points will be a very bad result from this particular game. If you're looking, if you're happy being 11th, then fine. But if you want to go and make an impression on that top 6, then let alone the top 2, you have to go to Oxford and win. But I do think it'll be tough, and I'll give you my score prediction now. We're going to win 1-0.
All right. Okay.
There you go.
Fair dues. I was going to get on to, we've got a pod on Sunday night. I think it's the 28th, because all the days start to merge into one, don't they? So we will be here on the 28th to look back over that game and look ahead to the one at Birmingham, which is going to be a bit tricky. In terms of predictions in our predictions league, last time out of all the entries, we had 26 correct results, 4 correct scores, including Gaza again, who somehow has managed to get 18 out of 22 league results correct. Steve, you did at least predict a draw. which was good. Although I think, did you say goalless? I can't. It
Yeah,
might have
I
been
went for 0-0.
So not far. Do you want to chuck yours in for Oxford away? Obviously, you're going to be there, aren't you?
Yeah, I think it's a game that we should win. Whether we do, I mean, just depends on a lot of that. Just depends on attitude and how we deal with whatever it is that Oxford are going to try and throw at us.
Yeah.
I mean, that you would imagine we'll be reasonably well prepared. Whether we actually take any of that preparation and analysis on board, and the players kind of carry out instructions, especially from a defensive perspective, who knows? I mean, it's always a little bit of a throw a six to start type question, isn't it? But all things being equal, we should win, and I think we will. And I'll go for 2-0.
I think 2-1's going to be a popular score as well, judging by the comments. George, what do you reckon?
Well, I was going to say the boys are very bold for predicting a clean sheet, but I've just had a look. And Coventry actually have the lowest number of accurate crosses per match of any team in the Championship at 3.4. So chances of a clean sheet are probably quite high, actually. So, yeah, 1-0, I think.
1-0 as well. Right. Okay, if you want to play along, all you've got to do is you need your Patreon login, and you can find the leaderboard and how to play online. So that's totalsaints.co.uk. And as I say, we're going to be here on Sunday, which is the 28th, to look back over that Oxford game. And we'll look ahead to Birmingham away as well.